If you are not planning your work and your life around your moon cycle, I think you are severely missing out. I just picked up a book about how to leverage your moon cycle in today's world as a woman, and I want to share with you a little bit of the highlights from that book and how I'm applying it to my life right now, especially while we are in the midst of this social distancing where we are at home full time with kids and business and all of the things going on right here. I just grabbed this book on Audible and listened to it in a single day. It was that good. I could not turn it off, and it changes everything for me. So I hope that you get a lot of value out of it too. The book is called Do Less by Kate Northrup. Kate is the daughter of an amazing doctor and advocate for women's health, Dr. Christine Northrup. So if you don't follow her, she has a ton of information above and beyond this. But this little book is going to give you so many answers to life's problems that you've been running into again and again and again. So the basic premise is that women operate differently than men. We are biologically designed differently. This is something that is a no-brainer for us, right? Well, the men are designed to go through these same cycles that we go through in 24 hours. So our whole world is kind of designed on this 24-hour clock and what you get done in a day. Women operate on a 28-day cycle, and they go through the same phases that a man goes through in 24 hours over the course of 28 days. And these are things that have to do with your creativity, your productivity, when you rest, how you recharge, when you get things done, when you are most charismatic and magnetic, and how you can fit your life into that cycle in a way that is more alignment so that you're not constantly push, 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 push. We have seasons that we go through all year long, and just like a good crop, if you plant a seed, it's not going to be harvest season all year long. So what we know about women and the feminine, it now allows us to implement these sort of cycles to our best ability so that we can serve our community, our children, our families, and most importantly, ourselves. We can keep ourselves filled up. Okay, so she breaks it down into 4 different phases. Now these are cyclical, so you're going to go around and around in these, so there's not really a starting one, but I will start with what she calls phase 1. Now in this phase, it's all about planning and brainstorming and coming up with new ideas and implementing new things. This is the time when your mind is the most creative and kind of juiciest for planning new things. After phase 1, we roll into phase 2, which will usually happen around the full moon, and this is when you are most dynamic and magnetic and charismatic. That phase is the shortest. It only lasts a few days, and then it rolls into phase 3, which is the longest. It lasts about 12 to 14 days. That third phase, that's when you're completing tasks, getting things done, finalizing things, seeing things through, and completing projects, completing all the ideas that you came up with in phase 1. And phase 4 is what I consider the most important for a lot of us who are business owners and moms, because it's something that most of us just don't do. And that's the period where we rest. We rest, we recharge, we reflect on what just happened, we reflect on what we created, and we analyze how it went. This is a time to recharge so that we can start the cycle again. So a male would be able to go through all of those phases within a typical day, which is great because society is set up to operate in that manner. But as women, we need to step back and we need to do what is most genuine and authentic for us so that we can get the best results. So these phases are associated with when you bleed and when you have your typical cycle. It's also associated with the moon. So the moon is also on a 28-day cycle, and there is some evidence to show that back when we were more in touch with nature and we were more natural in our lives, that we would align with the moon cycle so that most women would be on that same pattern. Now, if you are not bleeding for some reason, it's menopause or postpartum or pregnant, you can use the moon as your guide for this. So if we're following that moon cycle, then the new moon is when we go into phase 4, which is when we rest and reflect and analyze how things went. We would go directly from that new moon rest and reflect into phase 1, where we're again brainstorming and initiating ideas and coming up with our projects that we're going to follow through on. Then we would roll right into that full moon. Now the full moon is the shortest time chunk, and that's going to be a day or two plus and a day or two minus the full moon, and that's when you are the most magnetic and charismatic. After that, you'll roll into phase, what I called 3 in the beginning, where you are getting and implementing and starting those projects and completing them. So let's apply this to somebody who is, say, a content creator who does sales presentations or webinars. How you would apply it to your life is in phase 1, you would plan and initiate and brainstorm your ideas. I would plan out my whole content calendar for the whole month during that time, basically putting my ideas and my general themes and the big ideas that I want to get accomplished in that month on the paper and on the books. During phase 2, which is the magnetic phase, that would be a great time to schedule webinars or sales presentations or getting in front of people, maybe recording videos or doing lives. Anything that you can use your most charismatic personality for, do in that small chunk of time. And remember, if you are aligning this with your cycle, then that's the activities that are going to come naturally to you, so they're not going to be draining. The next phase 3 is when you're going to see things through and complete things and follow up on all of those ideas and brainstorms that you created in phase 1. I feel like this is the phase that we are expected to live in at all times, always in high production mode, but that's not realistic and that's not sustainable. So if that third phase is 12 to 14 days, you can create almost all of your content in that chunk of time for the whole month so that you can spend the other 2 weeks working through these other phases that are most in alignment with what your body is naturally wanting to do anyway. And then on the 4th phase, you would stop and you would reflect. You would give yourself a chance to rest, and you would measure and see how that plan went for the month, and you would analyze it and record your thoughts. So giving yourself, your body, and your business time to slow down and test and see how things going so that you can start the phases over again. So like I said, I was so excited to read this book, and I definitely think it's worth checking out. You can grab it on Audible, like I said, and listen to it in under 4 or 5 hours. So it's a really quick book. I hope that you can apply this to your business. And now that many of us are stuck at home with social distancing, trying to prevent the spread of COVID, it might be a great time to track your own cycle and see if you are feeling motivated in these particular phases when they come up on your own particular calendar. I would love to hear your observations when you do. Please reach out to me, send me a message, and over on my blog, I'll put a big teal button right below this video where I can share all of my favorite time leveraging tools. It's my Time Hack Toolkit. If you haven't already grabbed that, you'll definitely want to combine these 2 pieces together. I really hope you got value out of today's episode, and I look forward to seeing you again.